What a wonderful day in nameless town, Japan. I'm so lucky to have a loving family and a steady job. My life is pretty good. Not only that, I just recently learned I'm the main character of the story. That means my family will be a part of the main cast and I don't have to worry so much about them anymore. I mean, I don't know the specifics, but what can possibly go wrong? Hey Tanjiro, how's it going, man? I was just stopping by, checking in, see if everything's okay. Oh, wow. I see you ordered the MC starter package. Oh, man, you must be so excited to go on super awesome adventures and make a lot of cool new friends. Isn't that going to be fun? Ah, I see. You're speechless. Well, I'm going to let you have your moment. See you later, dude. Hello, everyone. I'm the Inoculate, and today we're going to be looking at Season 1 of Demon Slayer, aka Animation no Yaiba. But before we get started, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, follow, tuck me in at night and give me kisses on the forehead, whatever you can, and here we go. The story starts off by, well, you guessed it, seeing Tanjiro's family absolutely biting it, which, by the way, makes him look like a total crybaby. I mean, seriously, he could have gotten a lot worse. And that isn't even the worst. Backstory shaming aside, though, we see Tanjiro and he's absolutely devastated, and who wouldn't blame him, because no one should have to witness atrocities like this on the regular, especially if it's those you love. However, when all hope seems lost, we see his sister Nezuko still conscious and barely holding on. Running through a blizzard to get help, we pray that Tanjiro can save what he has left of his family, so he can have some connection remaining to this world. Until Nezuko goes apeshit and tries to kill Tanjiro. Yeah, now is not a good time. As Tanjiro is in a struggle against his sister, he reaches out to Nezuko because that totally works in every aspect of demon media ever. And we see Nezuko break into tears, which is actually surprising because that doesn't work in demon media ever. Like, never, forever, ever, ever, ever. Crazy, right? With this Hallmark movie moment provided to us by Geico, we see a young swordsman sprinting in the forest at full speed with the intent to kill. Noticing what Tanjiro's sister has become, he attacks her with the power of really cool special effects. I mean, just look at it. By the way, if you're watching this for the first time, turn off the lights and watch it in the night. You're in for a treat. Barely saving himself and Nezuko by literal hairs, we get introduced to the swordman as Giyu Tomioka, aka the femboy of the Force, who tells Tanjiro what Nezuko has become and what must be done. After some pacifistic arguing and some conversational fleshback, Tanjiro ain't having it anymore and immediately goes on the offensive, to which he gets absolutely one-tapped in the most disrespectful way possible. I mean, what'd you expect? He's a super ninja, basically. And being a super ninja, Giyu does some crazy-ass Zoro shit and notices that Tanjiro threw the axe he had before he even got close, alluding to the fact that he has a keen battle sense and could be a strong warrior, which, by the way, this is cool and all, but if that landed, you would have been way dead, dude. I mean, you just trust in someone that woke up like 20 seconds ago with new instincts. I mean, I'm surprised that your kneecaps are still intact with all these leaps of faith you're going through. What's going on through that head, man? What kind of brain rot's happening? But alas, my critique of this moment aside, Nezuko jumps to Tanjiro's defense because Giyu's being a big old meanie, and he should stop that. Understanding that it would be pretty lame to end the series before it even starts, he changes his mind and gives Tanjiro crucial information that would help him learn more about the demon world and save his sister. Oh, he even gives Nezuko a bamboo muzzle, which made all the Discord mods happy and me uncomfortable. Where was I? Oh yeah, that starts the show. After an absolute banger from Lisa, unless you're this person, in which case your guitars sound like they come from Pringles cans, Tanjiro and Nezuko make their way to find this guy named Uro Kodaki to learn more about the demon-slaying world. Because demons and sunlight are an absolute no-no, Tanjiro force purchases this basket for Nezuko to safely travel in, Once we arrive at Nezuko's Diggy Diggy Hole, we learn that she has the ability to grow and shrink at will. I mean, it's not like Ant-Man cool, but it could get a lot worse. With Nezuko shrunk inside the basket, they make their way all the way to the tippy top of Thunder Mountain, to which they get jumped immediately for the sake of story. Yeah, you never really get a moment's notice in the show. After a tomahawk chop to the throat, we notice another thing that separates demons from humans, and that is super regeneration, which, warning for now, this power is insanely bullshit, and you'll find out what I mean later. With Tanjiro fighting the demon and Nezuko fighting the urge to go on a serious-ass mukbang, Nezuko turns to his brother and decides to protect him, using the spirit of Lionel Messi and just absolutely kicking this dude's head off. It's like, wham! God, that's so cool. With his head unattached to his body, this demon transforms into Geodude and decides to attack Tanjiro, leaving Nezuko to fight the headless body. But because it's early in the series and it doesn't really matter, here's how it plays out. Demon gets attached to the tree, body falls off the mountain. I know, anticlimactic, I just like using this voice. Now I know it's a common trope where the MC is at least somewhat of a goody two-shoes a majority of the time, but this guy is a different breed. I mean, he's like a merger between Keanu Reeves and Dave Grohl. Like, his niceness level is over 9,000, and I'm willing to bet if you did this man's laundry and put it in a suitcase, you get the Pulp Fiction light effect. I mean, this guy is too pure for this world. Beyond being impossibly nice and more popular Japanese kids than their parents, Urokodaki emerges and tells him that the knife won't do any good and suggests Costco creativity to do the trick. With Tanjiro hesitant to finish the job, Urokodaki determines that he has tiny heart syndrome and couldn't possibly be ready to kill by smelling it on him. Yeah, the senses are also absolutely bullshit in the series, and I'll just give you an example of what that sounds like. After taking too long and watching the demon burn up in the sun, we take a moment to remember the fallen, to which Urokodaki tells Tanjiro that, hey man, if you want to train with me, you're going to have to be prepared to flatline your sister and commit Sudoku because it's already bad enough that I'm hanging out with you. But now that you brought her, actual lives are on the line, and if you can't man up to this, then this is as far as you go. Understanding the terms and conditions, Tanjiro takes responsibility for himself, prepares to become a warrior, and show his worth as a man. Because nothing creates a man like a suicide pact. Now, after walking down a mountain and through every single Viet Cong trap known to man, Urokodaki accepts Tanjiro as his pupil and tells him about several other capabilities that the demons have over humans. So the way demons operate is kind of like Powerlifter Plus, but instead of eating M&Ms between 5-minute resting periods, once they eat a human, they gain strength and can even muster up the ability to shapeshift as well as use magic to their advantage in a fight. Now, how does one kill a demon? Well, I'll explain. Step 1. In order to kill the demons, you have to either wait for sunlight or cut the demon's head clean off. Step 2. In order to cut the demon's head clean off, you need a Nichirin blade, a sword made from the finest ores and crafted by the most skilled of swordsmiths. Step 3. Learn a technique that can help you demolish anything in your warpath and destroy all demons. Breathing. Yeah. Just breathing. But it's actually super special oogie boogie spooky breathing, so that's pretty nice. Step 4. Nerf every single demon in your verse, because if it's true that it's just human nature and not magic, then this is all up-ceiling bullshit. Because all of these feats I'm about to explain are just bonkers without magic. Urokodaki also explains to Tanjiro that in order to become a demon slayer, that he must pass final selection, which is pretty much chill out on a mountain for a while and have no demons try to kill you. Now, with Tanjiro being trained and bullied, he eventually learns a technique and is tasked with cutting a rock in half. But it's not just any rock. It's this golem shit. Yeah, there ain't no way you ain't using magic with this. So besides this being an unbelievably stupid task, with Tanjiro doing all the cartoony shit with his outlines, we then cut to these nerds just chilling out in the forest, Sabito and Makimo, who tell Tanjiro that he's training too hard and not training too smart, which I agree with, by the way. Tanjiro just needs to hop up on SARMs. I mean, I'm not sure if you can get them in the Taisho period, but lives are the cost if you're not on the sauce. That's just a fact of life. Now, after Tanjiro learns mind-muscle connection and perfect form, Tanjiro mines the fuck out of this cobblestone block. Side note, this is an actual rock. Yeah. Ryu no Warishi. Ain't that neat? With this mission accomplished, Tanjiro makes his way to final selection, and we see him use the breathing technique learned under Urokodaki, which is water breathing. And he's just absolutely dumpstering on these random demons. I mean, these guys are the red shirts of the verse. You know, they deserve to die because they have the background skin. Just saying. Now, while we're absolutely dominating the field here, we suddenly run into Mr. Hands, and he's just trying to keep his powerlifting stature by just going to town on some kids. With this demon slayer named Randy about to bite the dust, Tanjiro saves him and confronts the demon. Now, the demon recognizes the mask on Tanjiro's head that he's not wearing properly, and then asks Tanjiro what era it is. Finding out that it's Taisho, we see him absolutely lose his shit because Urokodaki trapped him there for 50 or so years, unbelievably pissed that he's been surrounded by Wisteria forever. By the way, this cute little plant that we saw at the beginning of Final Selection, yeah, turns out that's the garlic kryptonite, and demons don't like that pretty much. But more on that later. Now, Mr. Hands explains to us that with him being trapped there, he purposely goes after the kids of Urokodaki, which I can accept that, but it's pretty fucked up that you're just straight up killing people. And he even gloats that he ate his most recent students, Sabito and Makimo. Tanjiro, enraged at the very thought that this demon could have possibly killed those two, Tanjiro goes on the offensive and gets knocked down. But he gets up again, uses water breathing's first form, Water Surface Slash. After a very sad backstory, we see Tanjiro realize the thing that he probably should have already learned at the beginning of the show, and that these demons used to be people too, and from there on, decides to get strong enough to put them all to rest, and then never develop his character beyond that point ever again. Nope, no need to. He graduated from Berkeley with a liberal arts degree, and now knows the world. Suck it, boomers. After cutting to a No Nut November meme, Urokodaki is elated to see Tanjiro had survived Final Selection, and knowing that his pupils' souls are finally at rest. Once Urokodaki is done being a really cool dad, it's time for Tanjiro's sword, which means we enter this rational human being, Hagenezka, someone who treats their swords like they would a god. Now, Hagenezka has spent hours of his labor crafting this sword, and sets his ambitions high on seeing a marvelous red sword, because demon slayers totally have the not magic to have metals change colors. And once Tanjiro grabs his blade, we hear this quote from Hagenezka. "When I see black, I see red!" And immediately goes on the offensive to attack Tanjiro. Now, after being saved in the most Disney-esque fashion from Bird, Tanjiro begins his first mission as a demon slayer, which, congratulations, by the way. Once Tanjiro arrives on the scene, he begins to talk to locals to get a general idea of what's going on there, and immediately wastes no time to displaying crackhead behavior. With this guy actually astonished that it worked, we then enter the sludge demon who's been picking off girls in the middle of the street, who also definitely needs retainers because he's treating his teeth like used crayons, and if I had to put this under a category, it would be shit that I'd like to unsee for 500, Alex. So this demon's whole deal is that he's snatching their people up, and it doesn't matter if you hide your kids or hide your wife, because it's real spooky, and unless you're a dude, it's too bad so sad, and you're getting hold. Sorry ladies, I know it's your month, but that's just the way it is. With the fight ensuing, Tanjiro is showing us what he has learned as a demon slayer, and generally speaking, He's doing a good job here. He's bobbing and waving, swinging and swinging, and all the good verbs, and generally is displaying good swordsmanship. Until he ends up losing his guard, to where the plot armor shows up and it doesn't really matter that I said that. After getting this opportunity by Nezuko, Tanjiro then jumps into one of the holes and does this really cool move if it were on land. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not great. After Tanjiro ends up cutting down these clothes, Nezuko finishes the process of folding up this clone, which gives Tanjiro the opportunity to start bullying this guy with his brand new fruit ninja skills. He also asks him about his leader, Muzan Kibutsuji. But of course he can't say anything about it and runs out of his usefulness and ends up dead. Post-op! We have no time to relax as Tanjiro has to immediately go to Tokyo to take a break and eat some Campbell's chicken noodle soup, because even though I said that we have no time to relax, demon slayers with colds are no good. However, interrupting his meal, Tanjiro smells the most putrid of all demon smells, even though it could just realistically be any other demon, but decides to ballpark it and assumes that this is the demon that was at his family's residence when they were murdered in cold blood. Rushing through the streets with Nezuko, surfing through the crowds, we then enter the one and only Muzan Kibutsuji. Now, beyond being a dead meme, Muzan is just absolutely mortified because Tanjiro is wearing some chicks with dicks earrings and is just freaking out. I mean, shocker that not everybody is into Fudo like you, Tanjiro. So get your goddamn clothes off, you sick freak. Questionable attire aside, we see Muzan's fake family saving him in the nick of time. With Tanjiro distracted, Muzan quickly turns someone into a demon, distracting him even further, and escapes with his fake family. Now at this moment, two events happen simultaneously. One, we're treated to some pretty LSD flowers, which is kind of nice, and the other being Muzan calmly and rationally disconnecting these people violently from Xbox Life. The two radiating narcotics like a nuclear Walgreens are as follows: Tamio, one of Muzan's former homies, and Yushiro. To contrast those two, Muzan sends two demons in order to find and kill Tanjiro before he gets too strong, and those two are Yahaba and Susumaru. Now after leaving the scene with the demon guy, Yushiro takes Tanjiro and Nezuko to Hogwarts to find out that Tamio has actually been looking for a cure herself for demonhood. And the coolest part about her is, she asks for consent. Yep, good on you, Tamio. Real role model here. But alas, they find out where the hideout is and decide to bust in like it's Deck Dick December, leaving more speculation to determine how many Smurf berries could cure demonhood in the first place. While we're at it, how does this guy not get pink eye when he wipes? Follow-up question: do demons wipe, or do they just, exert their force like Kim Jong-un because he has no butthole? I mean, it's not really clear. But that's just speculation, I guess. Now, once they break in, Susumaru decides to play kickball with Yahaba, and it is just absolutely unfair because these balls can just rip and tear through your body. I mean, just look at this. Yushiro just gets criticaled for playing soccer. It's just absolutely devastating, the power behind these blows. However, Tanjiro, remembering that he can dodge the wrench the same way he could dodge a ball, Tanjiro quickly sniffs out Yahaba manipulating these balls and gives Ufotable the opportunity to let my endorphins flow. So Tanjiro's trying to catch Yahaba, but quickly learns the most important lesson of all: that treadmills are bullshit because you go nowhere on them, and Tanjiro ends up going nowhere. Using totally his not vector plates, he sends Tanjiro flying into the sky and falling to his death. Tanjiro, using the definitely not magic total concentration breathing, swings his sword to the ground and saves his life. Meanwhile, Nezuko is stepping up to the plate, and her career is over. Back to Tanjiro, we see him doing some crazy stuff with his breathing and Yahaba's vectors. I mean, just look at how gnarly this is. It's just, you know what? I actually kind of want cotton candy. I'll be right back. After decapitating Yahaba, Yahaba decides to go down in style and then does this scary shit to Tanjiro. I mean, thank God he's just a pinball wizard right now, but if this is what I thought it was, it would have just been absolutely gruesome, and I just saw Pain Olympics today, so it is not a good thing for my imagination to run wild here. With the passing of Yahaba, Susumaru remains unaffected by this, and they quickly need a plan in order to defeat Susumaru, which Tamio baits her into what I can only describe as death by cancellation. No, wait, please! I was only saying in a rap song! Honest! I swear I have black By the way, this is what happens when you say his name. Pretty violent. After another sad backstory, kind of, Susumaru dies and slows down the plot even more because they said they were a part of the 12 Kiseki, even though they weren't part of the 12 Kiseki, giving Tanjiro a new mission. We also replace Yushiro with Zenitsu, the apex fedora tipper. Now, with his personality so far being crying, yelling, and generally holding L's, we're not only provided another meme, but a brand new mission where we have to investigate this. Pretty violent. So with their new objective to go inside the monster house and save these kids' brothers, these dumbass kids decide to break one of the many horror movie rules and just follow the 2 people certified handling this. Like, this is just... You were adding stakes to something that didn't require it anyway. Fuck these kids. So we enter the building, and we just see Tank Dempsey just strolling through the halls with his drums, absolutely mogging on literally everyone in the room. And his objective is to take their brother's blood, which is basically the juggernaut of the verse, Morechi. We also see the rooms change to where we find Peppa Pig calmly counting to 3, who apparently was one of the few survivors of Final Selection, and also losing his mind for being in there for several days. So apparently Spike's Blood Demon art is called Tom Sawyer because the drumming does a lot of stuff with the feng shui of the rooms, and it's actually kinda cool. But as we're about to go toe-to-toe with the demon and stepping on kids, another room change occurs, and we see the brother of the 2 kids holding the room-changing drum, which makes this power absolutely BM. I mean, the way that power was ruined by that caveat is the same way that guy ruined his dick by progressively adding weight to his dick to make it bigger. And now your shit's a silly straw, buddy. Like, this is so unlucky. Going away from Tanjiro for a brief moment to look at Zenitsu, and him and this other kid that annoyed the shit out of me are running away from the tongue demon, who has the blood demon art of Harvey Weinstein. After trapping themselves in a corner, we see Zenitsu faint, and his life is over. Never mind. After Zenitsu thunderclaps and flashes this guy's cheeks, we also see Wilbur over here decide to rip and tear through this horn demon, and he uses his own breathing style to do so. Yeah, I know, pretty impressive this guy, right? Leaving those 2 for themselves, again. We then witness the main event, Wolverine versus Tanjiro, and this fight is so goddamn cool. I mean, the rooms are spinning, water breathing, the Now That We're Men slap scene is playing, but the cherry on top of this amazing sundae is this stunning visual. Your voice acting is fucking sick! Huh? After another tragic backstory, we then go outside to see the Boar Man himself, just pounding Zenitsu relentlessly as he's trying to protect Tanjiro's box. Fighting ensues between the Masked Man and Tanjiro, and we realize that not only is he built different, he's also a femboy, aka Inosuke Hashibira, an adrenaline-addicted sped who has no idea how to read. So beyond this guy's personality being loud and constantly being stronger than everybody, we then see them both enter the Demon Slayer ER. And apparently they've been fighting through broken bones. Yeah, I forgot to mention the Demon Slayers do that a lot, and if you've had a broken bone in your life, then you know that this is no way to be going on in fights like this. With the Scrubs episode over, we then cut to Spider-Man 2099, which starts with Tanjiro and Inosuke abandoning Zenitsu for being Zenitsu, and also being a giant pussy. We then see the two enter the forest to meet up with the remaining Slaters, only to find the remains of core member corpses. We also meet this nerd Murata, who's abandoned by the story, so you don't have to worry about him ever again. Understanding that they are the Desperate Measures, Murata tells him about everything that he witnessed there, and they deduce that these white spiders are the cause of all of their suffering. Which, by the way, gets increasingly fucked up, because if you thought these puppets were bad now, they get even stronger, and you could be left alive to do the twist and shout for the rest of your life. Which is fun if you're a Beatles fan, but not like this. So, with the gang cutting off the threads, rendering all the puppets immobile, we recognize in this moment that it's no good because now the spiders are reattaching themselves and they're in a constant state of fighting. Inosuke, rubbing his two brain cells together, decides to use his senses to determine the demon's location, so they can go in that demon's direction. And then Inosuke begins to throw Tanjiro in the air this high because he wants to. And then we enter the most dumb word salad I've ever heard for a move. You just have to listen to this. After being decapitated, the demon thanks Tanjiro for ending its sad demon life and warns him that a member of the 12 Kizuki is residing on this mountain. Side note, he's a huge dick. Meanwhile, Zenitsu is finally deciding to grow a pair and enters the fray. I mean, he's trading self-esteem for some pussy, but at least he's decided to become a farmer as a result of the process, so that's kinda nice. Now, with Zenitsu walking in the forest, we then meet up with one of Sid's toys, and this obviously scares the shit out of Zenitsu, and I wouldn't blame him because this little guy is, like, super fucking ugly. With Zenitsu running from any potential conflict, we then enter this man spider, who tells Zenitsu that he's been poisoned and will eventually turn into one of those baby faces, which scares Zenitsu even more shitless to the point where we hop up in a tree and get a little bit more backstory on this down bad little fella. So his whole deal is that he's been training under Colonel Sanders in the style of thunder breathing, and we then learn that he has a rational fear of failure here and doesn't want to let his master down, which is a pretty honorable thing, considering he was annoying as shit when he first debuted, so, good on you, Zenitsu. And then he gets struck by lightning because of the gag. Yep, moments passed. With the man spider being absolutely embarrassed for the both of them, Zenitsu begins to fall from the tree and faints, locking in and standing on business. Zenitsu begins engaging with the demon as the spider retaliates with his own purple goop, to where we notice that Zenitsu is taking the same stance over and over again. As we learn, Zenitsu can only master one form of thunder breathing. Being ashamed by this aspect of his character, Kurt Russell comforts Zenitsu by telling him some really cool Bruce Lee quotes to make him feel better. I mean, he would also mention something about water, but that's these guys' thing. That aside, we realize that when the whole world abandoned him, Zenitsu found a home in the core, and this gives UFO Table the opportunity to whip out their pistachios and collectively bust their nut all over the storyboard. Staying incapacitated from the poison, we then enter the Tyler Perry spider demon with terrible hair and disgusting eyelashes. So this whole demon's thing is that this guy is hard as hell. because they're trying to cut this guy up and it's not working. Tanjiro, thinking quickly on his feet, decides to use Costco creativity and decide to cut down some trees to make this demon immobile, which actually works. Until it doesn't, sending Tanjiro flying from the pot, and Inosuke left to his own devices. As Tanjiro falls from the sky, we see the actual member of the 12 Kiseki, Rui, and we see him giving some not-so-brotherly love to this girl who's allegedly his sister. We also see this fucking idiot absolutely eating it. I mean, he totally deserves everything that he got out of this scene. I mean, you're gonna die, and I don't care because you deserved every bit of this. So after this guy gets done being turned into multiple checkerboards, Rui is using all of his nen because Tanjiro pissed him off and demands Tanjiro give him an apology because this 9-year-old is intimidating. Going back to Inosuke, he's in the battle with Big Guy and is just not having a good time. Of course, this is all self-inflicted because he decides to clown on him, but he can't handle the smoke. And right as we're about to witness the death of Inosuke Hashibira, we then cut to a flashback where Inosuke is getting the MC treatment by being abandoned in a river by his mom. I know, it's pretty sad and all, but I mean, this has got a good track record of working. I mean, think about it. He's got a steady job that matches his skill set, and he made his own breathing style, revolutionizing the game. If anything, something we can learn from this is that you should abandon your children. I mean, you could drop them off at fire departments, orphanages, churches are a bit of a gamble, but how much do you not love your children in order to see them succeed? Just saying. However, in the nick of time, Giyu shows up and continues to show disrespect, and then ties up Inosuke for being Inosuke. Yeah, you stupid idiot. I mean, you've been injured this entire time, so quit being a degenerate. After we see Shinobu seeing Zenitsu never give up, Tanjiro is about to break because this guy does not have those good old-fashioned values on which we used to rely. That being said, Tanjiro and this girl are incredibly lucky because Nezuko shows up and Rui is just astonished that she would protect him. With Rui revealing himself to watch Sound of Freedom backwards so it has a happy ending, he says, "Give me that preteen," and Tanjiro's like, "Nuh-uh," and starts the scrap. With Nezuko tied up in the air and raging Tanjiro starts swinging like he eats pineapples at parties, but it ain't no good. Once we get closer to the demon, we see his carnival wire, Charlotte's Web level craziness, and see Tanjiro's life flash before his eyes. In this moment, we see Tanjiro's dad dancing and breaking down when he's not in the mood, to have Tanjiro gain inspiration from this moment. Unleashing the Hinokami Kagura, aka sun breathing, he starts cutting through the wires and startles Rui. Having Nezuko assist with her blood demon art, exploding blood or whatever the hell it's called because I didn't write it down, we then treated to this amazing moment.
In this huge tanker full of diamonds. Crawl! Crawl! Those aren't ideas, those are special effects. I don't understand the difference.
With Rui decapitated and Tanjiro and Nezuko out of steam, we then take a moment to relish in the fact that we had finally slain a lower moon. Then Rui puts his head back on and decides to attack Tanjiro. Yeah, that was a good time. With Tanjiro about to turn into mincemeat, Giyu shows up and then does this.
Oh, wow. Ooh. Forgot about that one.
After another sad backstory that totally doesn't justify his actions, Giyu stomps on the corpse of Rui and tells Tanjiro to be more savage, until Shinobu shows up again, leaving him on the defensive for Nezuko. Again. Speaking of, her whole thing is that she can't really cut off of the head of a demon, and she uses the pretty wisteria plants that I was talking about earlier to give us some greedy LSD lighting, which is kinda sick. Once this happens, a chase scene ensues, and this is pretty stupid because not only are they doing the Naruto tree jumping, Nezuko's changing her shape, and then a bird comes in, says, nah, they're cool, to which Tanjiro gets knocked out by this girl. Speaking of, it's canonically proven that Tanjiro's head is the hardest thing in the verse, and the leg power that this girl has must be insane. I'm talking, it knocks him out to the point where he wakes up in ninja court, depending on I don't know how many days. Now, we get a lot of introduction of characters here and a lot of defense in Nezuko, so I'll just try to introduce them all real quickly. The leader, who has Byakugan, is just Ubiyashiki and is like a pretty cool dude here. The twins we've already met and his wife. Then we get to the Hashira, and the list is as follows. Rengoku, a really cool lad. Tengen, based. Mitsuri. Murichiro, airhead. Gyome, one with God. Iguro, loves snakes like Coyote Peterson for some reason. Shinobu and Giyu, well, you already kind of met them. And then Sanemi, who wastes no time doing this. Now, after everyone is in agreement that Nezuko is cool, Sanemi ain't having it, and decides after doing this that it's a good idea for this. I mean, I guess he's a Hashira, so it doesn't really matter, but still, this man is fucking sick. With Tanjiro in a hold and Nezuko just staring down this man, Giyu helps Tanjiro break free from Iguro and tells Nezuko that it's all a test. And Nezuko says, well, effectively through the bamboo muzzle, I'm no chicken, you're turkey, and embarrasses Sanemi this way. After this moment being this moment, we then cut to the Butterfly Mansion to learn a couple things. 1. Slavery is bad. 2. It's okay to be embarrassed that you don't have the courage to fight. 3. Tanjiro should still hop up on SARMs because Mommy's little demon slayer has all grown up. 4. We learn why Shinobu has reverse resting bitch face and is sad. 5. Blowing hard can make you a man. And 6. Tanjiro can be annoying as hell sometimes because I hate every aspect of what is going on here. While that's happening, we then cut to the Infinity Castle where all the lower moons are summoned for the death of Rui. So apparently all of the lower moons are absolute cowards, and when they see a Hashira, they usually split, to where Muzan just starts picking them off because the story doesn't need to be so long. I mean, to be fair, it could be a little bit longer, but now we know how scary Muzan is. With this guy not having it, he tries to escape with this happening to him. They never learn. With this demon pleading for his life and not doing anything, we then enter this sick freak, Enmu, who openly admits that if Muzan said that he's gonna participate in one guy, one jar, he would follow. Because of this, Muzan gives Enmu a large quantity of his blood, making him stronger. Which is also a way that demons can get stronger, and then tosses him out of the Infinity Castle. We then cut to our heroes, about to hop on a train to go on a quest with the Flame Hashira, Rengoku, thus ending this season with this sick fuck also on the train. If you like this video, be tuned to see what I have in the pipeline and share with your friends so they can see this too. See ya!